Hello, everyone. Welcome to another episode of 15 Minutes and a Big Idea. As always, we're so thrilled that you've decided to join us today. Since we're in between books, I wanted to take a second, and I'm still doing a little bit of prep for the next book, to just say who we are and what we're about. Maybe you've been with us for a while, and it's good to be reminded what we do, and maybe you're new here. Maybe somebody's recommended this episode. This would be a great one to recommend if you want to get into it and get started, kind of get a basis and introduction. Who are we? What are we about? Well, here at 15 Minutes and a Big Idea, we believe the Word of God is powerful. I've experienced the change that can come about and the way it can remake your life in the way it's remade my life. We believe the Word of God can remake our hearts and our homes and our workplaces and our churches and our communities and our world for the glory of God. And we are fundamentally committed to the power of the Word of God and its ability to affect change in everything that we do. So because of that, we want to let the Word of God go into your life and to change the world. And so we put together Bible studies. These are going to be 15-minute studies. We look to find one thing that the Word of God is saying to us. We go through various books of the Bible, and once we finish one, we're just going to go to another. We've been through James and Titus and Galatians and Ephesians, and at the end of the episode, I'll tell you where we're going next. But whenever we finish, we're just going to go to another one. So sometimes we do 4 or 5 verses, and sometimes we just do a verse or two, because once we finish, we're just going to go find another book and do it. So there's no need to rush. We want to take as much time as we need to, but also move as effectively as we can to find one big idea out of the text. What's the overarching principle coming out of this passage? Now, obviously, there can be multiple things going on in a text. There can be multiple angles, and the writer may be doing multiple things. But we want to find the thing that really leaps off the page for us that we need to strive to be obedient to. In order to do that, we find 3 supporting ideas in the text that kind of build up and go towards that big idea. So these may be things that lead to it in a logical progression. These could be things that just point to it kind of from different directions and give you different angles. Whatever it is, we want to show you how this is what the text is about, and this is what it is pointing towards, so that you can see the obvious thing. We want to prioritize the obvious over the obscure always prioritizing the obvious over the obscure. Once we do that, we believe the Word of God doesn't just call us to have beliefs, but to change our behavior, and that truly our behaviors are a reflection of our beliefs. And so we want to give you ways to apply this, ways to show that you do truly believe what God says in a particular passage. So we're going to give you some application questions, some things to consider the content of the day, and ask yourself, are you really living it out in all the ways that you should be? I know I personally have found that challenging myself, and it's caused me to grow and to be changed by it. And so I hope that's a blessing to you. That's what the podcast is about. And so I want to quickly say to those of you who listen and you subscribe and you share with others, thank you so much, because this podcast continues to grow in ways I never expected. And it's been humbling. And it's been challenging, and it's been a blessing to me. And so consider sharing this podcast with someone that you know. Maybe send this episode, since it's kind of an introduction to what we're about, or share another episode that you like. Share our updates on social media. Like and follow those pages. Subscribe to the podcast, review it. All the things you hear on other podcasts that you need to do or that help us out, they really do move the needle. So consider doing those things. Ultimately, we just want to say thank you. So the next book we're going to be going to, I'm glad to announce, is going to be the book of, I don't have a drum roll sound. So the next book is going to be Philippians. The next book is going to be Philippians. And so obviously Galatians, Ephesians, and Philippians. And after that, I really don't know. This has kind of been the plan from the beginning. Originally, it was Galatians, Ephesians, Philippians, Colossians. But after some study, Colossians and Ephesians go into and tread a lot of the same ground. So we may want to try to do something different. I'm open to that, but send us an email. And send us an email now, because we'll be making that decision before we get too much further on into Philippians. So send us an email down in the show notes below. You can also hit us up with a direct message on Facebook or Instagram. For those of you who are listening a lot, love for you guys to have a say in what we do, and really look forward to that as well. So I hope you can join us as we begin Philippians next week. The last thing I want to announce that I'm really excited about too is that we're going to be adding a video component. So we want to get as much of this content out as we can so that the word of God can penetrate into people's lives. We want to see him glorified, and we want to see his name made great. Not ourselves, but we want to give people more opportunity to interact with this content and to view it. And not everyone does podcasts, and maybe you might have recommended it to people before. They're like, well, I don't really listen to podcasts. Well, we're going to be doing it on YouTube as well. So it's not going to be real flashy. I'm just going to have a camera on while I share these studies, while they share these devotionals, and hope that maybe that'll give us another platform that we can reach out to and people can use and find the content on as well. If you want to find that content, go to the Mended Collective. I'm a part of the Mended Collective, and this podcast is in partnership with them. So it'll be over on their YouTube page. They've been nice enough to lend me some of their channel space over there. So check that out, follow, subscribe to that page, hit the bell for notifications so you can see when the podcast drops on video and see if you like doing it that way as well. Can't wait to see where this project goes. And above all, just crave and covet your prayers on this. We can't do anything without the Lord on our side. And if you would pray for the podcast, that would mean the world to me. Hope you're well, and we'll look forward to seeing you when we hit Philippians next week. Thanks so much.